What's kicking, y'all? Quick Panic here, and today I'm going to do a special video with my buddy Aaron McInnes, who did something pretty awesome. So say hi, Aaron.
Was good.
So what did you do this past weekend, man?
Top forward, St. Louis, ARG.
Pretty cool. And you played something super original, right?
Yeah, it was the best deck.
Cool. So obviously Zoodiac is the best deck going into Nationals, which we have coming up this week, which you're going to, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Sweet. All right. So let's go over the deck list. I have it up on my screen. So we started. One really cool thing that I see here is we only played Max C in the main deck, or you only played Max C in the main deck, and there's no
Yeah.
Ghost Ogres or Ash Blossoms. What's your reasoning for that?
Those cards are all neg ones. Like Ash, like in the mirror match, like you're going 1-for-1 with a tanky, which is like okay. Like you're leaving up Barrage, which like you still have to deal with. It hits Desires and like combo, which is like okay, but like at the end of the day, like they're still 1-for-1s, and like combo's free. Desires, like it's still 1-for-1. So like I want all my cards to like do like more than just one thing. Like as you'll see, like a lot of the spell cards I play, like if I draw them as my sixth card, they're not dead. So like all my cards are board edge. They push through boards. Like they all like do something on their own. Like they don't have to have like a reaction. They're just gonna be like they're gonna work no matter what. Like things like Econ, like they still work like whereas other matchups that aren't just a mirror.
Yeah, I see, man. That's pretty cool. I like that. So just out of curiosity, like how often did you have Max C?
Um, I think like three matches or like three games all weekend, and then like I drew it a fourth time in my top eight match off of combo, but like I didn't need it. He already scooped.
Oh, okay. I was like, wow, that's broken. Cool, cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so the Zodiac lineup looks pretty normal for what we've been seeing, except you ran three Thoroughblade, which is something that I'm personally doing. So, what is your reasoning for it?
I like drawing cards, so like whenever I don't have rat and I have Thoroughblade with anything else, I just want to draw because like if you're not rat comboing, you're not like seeing more cards. So like if I'm gonna like open multiple zoos, I want one to be Thoroughblade so I can at least draw. Because like if I'm gonna get Ghost Ogred on like my bull, that's a zoo card. It doesn't do anything, so I'd rather like get Ogred on the Thoroughblade and like try and draw like a Barrage or like a Shuffle Reborn or like a Trap card.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, man. I like that. So, three Thoroughblade. We had the two Rat Piers, two Rams, and three Whiptail. That seems all pretty standard. And going on to the spells, I noticed that people started playing Soul Charge, something that it's like an extender since we lost our good friend Norden after this last ban list. We needed more in extenders because we don't have the fusion, um, instant fusion anymore. So the Soul Charge, how good was Soul Charge this weekend?
I drew it like two or three times. There was a game where like I soul charge and like my opponent soul charge after that. So like the card's insane, but like the one thing that I noticed this past weekend is like how much life Zoo pays. So like with
Yes.
Cosmic, Solemn, Soul Charge, and just like thing and like taking like chip damage from like Thoroughblades, like it actually stacks up pretty quickly. So like you have to like be super mindful of the life you're paying and like if you're gonna make a Soul Charge board, how are you gonna make it so like you can't get like destroyed by like a board wipe into like board over game. You just have to be like super careful with your life total.
Yeah, true, true. What about Shuffle Reborn? How'd you like that card this weekend?
Um, it was pretty okay. Like I didn't want to play more than one. I saw it about as much as I needed it. So like in my feature match round six versus Max, like I had it for his Flying C. There were like a couple of games in Swiss where like it was like game two or like game one or two where like I used the shuffle effect on like a tanky. And like you can just like do cute things with that when like you need to see more cards. So like as long as you have no monsters in hand, you just gotta remember to use the effect to banish an end phase. Remember that, boys and girls.
Yeah, good tip, good tip. Two Potted Desires, we can play that now because we don't care about our rats getting banished as much. Did you ever get ashed for it? Anything bad happen with Potted Desires, or did you like it?
I lost game one versus ABC because I banished all three of my whiptails. And I
No.
couldn't banish any of his pieces. But other than that, the card, like, for every bad desires, there's a good desires. There's a lot of times when I drew double, so, like, that's unfortunate, but, like, I still resolved both. It, like, always was, it's still a plus one at the end of the day. Like, it never got ashed. Like, I never had an issue with that. So, hopefully I'm that lucky going into nets with the desires.
No kidding. It'd be a shame if you ran into somebody that Ash Blossomed still in the main deck. So Cosmic Cyclone, Book of Moon, the board wipes that you talked about seems like a really good play since we're not playing the Ghost Ogres or Ash Blossom. So basically, you let your opponent do what they're going to do on their turn, and you're more focused on reacting to them rather than stopping them. Is that right?
Yeah, for sure. Because, like, Ogre, like, it's good for, like, Diagram, but, like, because people are playing things like Shuffle Reborn and, like, There's still 3 My Bodies, like all those hand traps like people are playing through. So I'm just gonna let them like have those cards, and like if you're gonna My Body, you're gonna My Body and my board wipe. Like it's the same thing, but like if you don't have the My Body, then like I'm clearing your entire board, and like that's infinitely better in my eyes.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. That's pretty good. So the econs are really cool, especially for the mirror match. If you summon a monster and it's going to get popped by Dryden, you can just steal their Dryden, overlay into Broad Bowl, and get your search and all that fun stuff. So that's a pretty cool card. I like that. Oh, so why only the one Chalice?
I was playing 41 with two. I was playing 41 and I had 2 Chalice, and then that's why you said if you like look online, like it's marked out, like I put 1.
Yeah.
So like everyone's like, yeah, play 40, just like cut that to 1. So like I played the 1 Chalice. It originally was at 2 because of like Flying Sea and like in the mirror. But like over the course of the day, I noticed that people are making the Hammer Kong boards a lot more. So like that's why the board wipes turned out to be really well.
Yeah.
Because like if you look in Top Cut, there's like a lot of people that weren't playing board wipes and all. I was one of the only people that played like 3 and like mained them all. So the Chalice is good for like I said, Flying Sea. It has Dryden's as well, and then like the main reason I was playing is because I kind of worried about like the Draco deck, like the Knuckles and all that. So like you can just change Chalice to that. So it's like the most diverse card, but in the Zoom mirror match, it's like it's like the worst one that still has impact.
Right. Yeah, I feel you. That's pretty cool. Okay, so so the spells we kind of explained. We don't have to explain Tenki or Barrage, I don't think. But moving on to the traps. So we're main decking the 3-dimensional barriers, 2 strikes, a warning, and a combo. So some people going into this that I've been theorying with were saying like playing either the dimensional barrier or the strikes, because starting with traps in your hand going second is kind of crappy. But if you're able to go first and you have all that defense, it's pretty awesome. So how did it work with having all the traps in your deck? Do you ever find yourself behind on your first turn when your opponent goes first, or how do they work for you?
I went second like a majority of Top Cut, and like it never mattered. So like the best thing about the board wipes and the traps is like activate board wipe. Like if they're not floating ramp, their entire board is gone. So like they have to like reestablish everything. So you have 6 cards that you can draw. They just completely stop their plays. So like the odds of you drawing at least one of them going second is pretty high. And then like if they don't like all of this is like based on the theory they don't have barrier, because if they have barrier, like you're kind of screwed anyways.
Yeah.
So like the main idea is just to like board wipe, or clear their board with like econs and just like be like precise with everything, playing around My Bodies and all that, and then set up your Dryden, and then hopefully like float a ram or something like that, and then set a trap card, and then they have to like have like something in end phase to out the trap, or they're just gonna lose to it next turn. Like striking Thoroughblade on their turn, like they have to have Barrage, or like their turn's just over.
Right. Okay, I feel that. So going back to the spells real quick on Cosmic Cyclone, why we're all maining it because we're scared of the True Draco cards. You can get rid of them, and it's no longer tribute fodder, and you're banishing it instead. It can also hit like for the people who are still playing Artifacts, Sanctums, and stuff like that. You can hit them without any sort of worry. So how did you use it in the Zoo mirror match? Were you just kind of like blind cycloning in order to simplify the game state later on? Were you saving it for Barrage? How did you use it?
Going first, I always held it for Barrage. If they didn't have it, then like I'll in phase try and hit one of like the 2 that they set. If you feel like whenever the matches come up, my top 4 match, like you're gonna see like I draw into a Cyclone in like game 3, and like there's actually no point in blind cycloning unless you've baited out barrier.
Right.
But the issue with that is like if they're playing strike, then like you're gonna lose to that as well. So like there's actually no like easy way to do it, and also like the life total is like kind of an issue. So like there's might be twins going forward. So because like there's good and bad in it.
Yeah.
Overall the card is good. Like hitting Barrage is like still insane. I think there was a time where like I chained it to a combo just to like banish it because like, I didn't want to draw cards. So like there's little cute things like that you can do in the mirror match. But like overall like twins like better in a sense. But like when I'm going second, I kept in Cyclone and the twins that are on the side because I was that scared of like Order and Anti-Spell.
Yeah, no kidding. Okay, cool. So let's move on to the side deck. Speaking of Imperial Order and our friend Anti-Spell Fragrance, how come you forego the Anti-Spell here?
Magic Deflector's a really good card.
Yeah. So
like the thought process was like if I have Anti-Spell, like I'm not taking away any cards from them. They're just gonna set 5, and then if they have a barrier, like I'm just stunned, like I can't kill them, and then on their turn they're gonna be fine to play. So I was like, okay, Deflector at the worst it's a 1-for-1, like with like trading with Tanky or like Chalice or anything like that. So and if you Deflector, like everything like Chalice, Econ, My Body, all those cards are shut down.
Yeah.
Book of Moon. So the only thing they can do is Shuffle Reborn, Board Wipe, and Desires, which is like That's a lot, but at the same time,
It's
like
really not that much.
if you have any trap card to stop their push, like they can actually don't can't do anything.
Yeah, I kind of like that. That looks pretty good. So for people who don't know what that card does, it's a normal trap card. You flip it up, and equip field, continuous, and quick play spell cards on the field are negated for the rest of the turn, which is pretty cool because if you're looking at Aaron's deck list, it's there are some things he does differently, but the majority of us that are playing Zoo are playing a lot of like quick play spell cards, especially my body being at 3, enemy controllers becoming a really hot tech. So it actually hits a lot of stuff, and the field spell part is actually relevant too. Did you ever shut down a diagram like that?
I know I decided in versus the Draco Zoo deck I played. I'm not sure if I drew it.
Okay.
But yeah, like that was the thought process. Like anti-spell is also awful going second versus pure
Oh,
Draco.
yeah.
Deflector is one of the only cards that you can side in going second, and it still has impact because like it's a complete shutdown for all of their cards. Like they can't heritage, they can't disciple, they can't do anything like that, and they don't have any additional tributes. They only get one like for that turn.
Yeah. Okay, that's cool. That's cool. I think that's something I might try. I like that. And then you had the one Imperial Order. Anything you want to say about that, or it was just Imperial Order?
I don't think I ever drew. Oh, the only time that I drew it, I paid myself down to 200, and I was under my opponent's skill drain,
Oh
and
man.
I somehow won that game. It involved me like booking my own Trident, and then off like the 6 turns that I was under my own order, he just didn't draw anything, so I somehow won.
That's impressive. Okay.
That was like the scariest game of the entire tournament, and like that was when I was down a game already X1. I was like, well, this is how my tournament experience ends. And I somehow won, and we got lucky.
That's called skill. That's definitely skill. Um, looking at the spells, Mind Control seems like an obvious card for the mirror match. Just for Zeus, taking them, you can overlay on top of your opponent's cards. You can bait out the Trident, all that fun stuff. So I see you have one Wiseman's Chalice. How did that go?
I only had one, so I cited one. But it has like it's actually pretty good. So like before like the weekend everyone was playing Shuffle Reborn in Atlanta. I wasn't, but like I wanted to play Wiseman's Chalice because a lot of the issues that I had at that event were like not drawing monsters. So I was like, okay, I need to like find a way to get monsters. So I'm like, okay, I'll take my opponent's monster. Like that's a good way to look at it. Um, but like something I've noticed is like you have to like have your own play first to try and bait out barrier because if
Right.
like your only play is Wiseman's Chalice, they barrier you. Like you just gave them like a resource. So like
Yeah.
you got to be pretty mindful of it. But like the one like good thing about it is like you can it doesn't negate the effect. So like you can Chalice like Thoroughblade activate effect, and if like they ogre you, like okay, we baited that out. Like that's one like it's one down, one to go.
Ah, cool, cool. I like that. That's interesting. Yeah, so this is definitely a more skillful card. You have to be careful the order that you play things in and be super mindful of dimensional barriers since it's a staple now. So, cool. Wiseman's
Yeah.
Chalice. Mind Control, we kind of don't really need to go over that too much. Twin Twisters, we talked about that, how that might be going into the main. Would you just swap out the Cyclones and the Twin Twisters, like put 2 Twin Twisters in the main inside the 2 Cosmics and keep the 3rd Twin Twisters in?
Probably. I don't know, because like I don't. It's like siding like 2 Cosmic is kind of weird, but like I still want more back row removal, so I'm not exactly sure how I'm gonna do that going forward.
Yeah.
Like, but like yeah, because like going first, like you don't always want to like pitch cards from hand, like going second as well, because like you always need to play through boards. So I would say it's definitely something I'm gonna like keep testing and just figure out like it's actually just like a meta call. Like if you're gonna play like both, you have to figure out like what's more important in the main deck game one.
Gotcha. Cool, cool. All right, and then moving on to the monsters. Kind of did this backwards, but whatever. That's how we do it. So you cited 3 Gamma Seals. What is the reasoning for having only one name for kaijus there?
I didn't have a second one, and like the odds of drawing a second, like the odds of drawing 2 are like pretty low, and like the other thing is like so the only time the kaijus go in versus zoo is when they have anti-spell, and because it's an ARG, like I was able to like figure out when it was relevant to like side in the kaijus for it.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, but so for Konami events, like you have to like be more like you have to like be more proactive in like your siding techniques. So I would only side in like 1 or 2, so it's like less relevant in that. But versus the Draco deck, I'm never gonna like summon 2 kaijus unless it's for game, and at that point I can just pop their kaiju. But so like if I draw 2, I'm just gonna like use 1, clear their board, play passive, and then they're gonna like make another push with Masterpiece, kaiju that, and like at that point like I have no more resources and like it's just a free win.
Okay, cool, cool. Would you change that at all going into an event if you had access to all the kaijus you needed, or would you just keep the 3 Gamma Seals?
Chowfing with Earth, you can't humongous hit, so probably not. Just as like a side note,
That's,
like that might
a
be
good point.
that might be the only reason why I don't. So I don't know. There's like random things that like the 200 attack points might be relevant in one matchup, but like if you can't kaiju a Chaofeng, use auto lose like a rogue deck. So like I'm just not gonna like take any chances.
So was that deck present there, like the dinosaur Yang Zing? Did it do anything there?
Zephyr's tops the event, and I think they play Chaofeng, so
Wow.
people might play that.
Cool. All right. And then the last card here in your side deck is Droll Lockbird, which is obviously good against the True Draco matchup. But I talked to you a little bit earlier, and you said you didn't side it at all.
Yeah, I didn't play any Resident Pure True Draco. So like I told you earlier, those might become ashes because the Draco Zoodiac is actually kind of scary when they open like Diagram, Balbabu, and all that stuff. So
Ooh, yeah.
if you can if you have like Ash for that, I don't actually care about Diagram that much. So if they open Diagram, I'm being like sure, and they have like Balbabu and a Grave. I'm like, all right, I'm
Yeah,
ashing
that's when
that.
it gets scary.
Exactly. So you have to be careful about the Ash because like they have a lot of different things they're gonna try and bait you out. So you have to be careful with what you're ashing. But yeah, Ash is a more diverse card. Like you can also put in versus like I said, Draco Zoo, Pure Draco. It's good versus like a lot of rogue decks like Paleos, random things like that. So it's probably better to put that card in just because it's more diverse overall.
Okay, cool. Your extra deck here isn't very special, but you did 2 Hammer Kongs. Explain that to me.
So the third Brobble doesn't come up super often because of like desires. You're banishing a lot of cards. Like I said, there wasn't a lot of times where like my engine was running where like I couldn't draw more. So I was like, okay, like there's especially with desires, like I'm not gonna like resolve 3 Brobble often. But the third Chalconite is super important because like that's the first one that you always do to float Ram play around things like Torrential and all that. So I'm like, okay, 2 Hammer Kong, like it's another one of like the in the middle ones that like you don't use super often. But if you have the first Hammer Kong engraved and people aren't gonna play around it, so like if you're going second or like if like a later stage of the game you board wipe and then they float Ram into a Trident, if you like normal something, summon Hammer Kong, attack into it, they can't play around that because they can't target their monster.
Cool.
So having the second Hammer Kong is nice because people aren't going to play around it. And there's like another in between like that having a second one definitely came up a lot this weekend.
Cool. Yeah, I think that's something that we should be looking into, especially if the majority of the decks out there are going to be Pure Zoo. Cool. So that covers pretty much everything. Was there anything you wanted to add? Anybody want to shout out or anything like that?
Shout out Epic Cards and Games. Other than that, no, like everyone that saw my list are like, why are you not playing hand traps? You're bad. So like, I have no person to shout out at this point in time for the deck.
Nice. All right, cool, man. I really appreciate you coming out and sharing with us. And I will see you at Nats here next week.
Yeah, for sure. See you then.
All right, later, man.